And now we're finally TikTok Live. Looks like Riverside, the podcast app that I used, was down. TikTok Live number 65. Guys, the top 5 listeners to the whole TikTok Live, I'm going to be giving you guys a shout out. I might even go to 7. The last 2 or 3, I've gone up to 7. One of them I did 10, I think, actually. The top listeners to the live, I'm going to be giving you guys a shout out on the podcast, YouTube channel, in the caption, okay? All right, let's get after it. First person to ask a question. Here we go. Duriel said, "Hey, Doc." What's up, Duriel? Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with residency, man. I got to go in tomorrow for presentations, and the program director might keep us there, but like the new chiefs start tomorrow. So if I was to stay there, we'd have another resident, and I'd be taking away experience for them. Sedations, OR. I'm going to be at the dental school, so I'd be taking away sedations from the incoming chief, which she needs, right? Like you need those numbers, and a senior level resident too. So we're already going to have 2 people there. The dental school clinic only accommodates 2 people. I might just go and do like my work there for an hour until I can just, I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, what's up, Duriel? But yeah, my last actual day of full work was Friday. And I did the walk on, like the graduation walk on 2 Mondays ago, so 2 weeks ago. And then our official graduation dinner is on Thursday, June 12th. So yeah, other than that, there's a lot going on next 2 weeks, but it's all my personal, like outside work stuff and signing out from residency. We got to like hand in our ID cards and stuff, like, and all the little stuff. Anyway, let's keep it going. Dot said my wisdom teeth were for 2 years and I got them removed and I have no pain. Is that normal? Yeah, you got them removed and you have no pain. I mean, there you go. It's pretty sweet. Brielle said, "How do you study basic sciences for the CBSE if my dental school doesn't give the best foundation?" Yeah, dude, you got to, well, first listen to the podcast YouTube that I did with Axe on the updated recommendations of what we would, how to study it, what resources to use, because things have changed since I took it 5 years ago, about 5 years ago when I took it. And we went through everything and how to study for it, okay? And I have gotten a lot of feedback that people have increased their scores from their first and second times taking it. So I would look at that, okay? Just follow that to the T, regardless of your dental school and the foundation and basic sciences. For real, listen to CBSE Dissection. Look it up on YouTube. And follow that to the T, and you'll be just fine, okay? Trust me. User 2435. Who are you choosing for malpractice insurance? They're like the OMSNIC thing or MedPro, or someone just actually commented today on one of the Instagram posts saying to hit them up in 2 or 3 months. I might go with them. We'll see. What's the better deal? Who's going to be giving us the better coverage? I like that OMSNIC. You get shares in the company, and it's like it's your company. That's how insurance, I think, should be too. The dental insurance. But anyway, nonetheless, let's keep it moving. So Goat said, "What is a practice that you still are not confident to do?" Practice, you mean one of the treatments or something? I mean, there's always more to learn in generally most things. And no matter what, even if it's just basic wisdom teeth, there's always going to be that one that kind of like catches you off guard, that surprises you, right? So, I mean, there's so many things that it could be. There's really a lot. But as far as, I don't know, there's nothing off the top of my head where I'm like, I don't know. Rhinoplasties just came up. Someone asked about rhinoplasties, and we could do them. I mean, we really do nose reductions, bedside, or even in the OR. So we don't really do rhinoplasties, but some oral surgeons do rhinoplasties. I don't want to do rhinoplasties, so I'm not really worried about it. Sapphire Mirror said, "Can a body reject the tooth implant?" On very rare occasions, yeah, a dental implant can be rejected by the body, but generally they're made by titanium, and titanium is the most biointegrative material out there in many cases. So, I mean, generally dental implants do very good. They have a really high success rate, but there's always going to be some persons whose genetics just don't bond well with it, I guess you could say, right? Underscore said, "Can OS go into plastics?" They can. Yeah, we can. We can if we wanted to. It would be easier for 6-year residents to do that than 4-year residents, but I do know 4-year residents that did it. I don't know why they would want to do it, but some people want to do that. So go ahead. Pop said, "Congrats on completing your residency, boss." Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. Said, "Best thing for TMJ clicking, be conscientious of it. If it's causing pain, maybe don't be having a diet that makes you chew a lot. You know what I mean? You don't want to be chewing a lot. You don't want to masticate too much and overreact that. The TMJ muscles, the muscles of mastication, you don't want to activate them too much where it's just going to cause things to get worse. But as far as TMJ clicking, I have TMJ clicking. Is it really that big of a deal? It's not painful most of the time. If it's painful, you could take maybe like an ibuprofen potentially, visit your local dentist or oral surgeon about this. But like, it's really not that big of a deal. A little bit of clicking. Most people have a little bit of clicking in their TMJs. You see what I mean? C-Spam said, "I'm already bored in my first year of private practice, GP associate as an associate, should I go back to specialize? Well, get an idea of what you'd like to specialize in. Otherwise, maybe you need to change your role. Maybe it's the role that you're in, and maybe you need to open your own practice. Maybe you need to find a practice where you could become a partner. Look into what opportunities you'd be interested in pursuing. I was talking to a friend today who's a GP at an associate job. He hates it. He wants to work for his mom who owns a practice. And I'm like, do it. Make the switch. Figure out how you could become an owner in that practice. Get a partner opportunity with your mom. It's the greatest thing in the world. You don't always have to go back and specialize. I think we get caught in this educational system that you just think it's the next test score, it's the next class, it's the next year in school. It's always something else, right? Well, sometimes it's not always something from the system. Sometimes you have to look inside and say, what's going to make me happy? What do I need to do to get in the best position where I'm going to actually be excited to go into work every day? Because you're not going to get that from school necessarily, right? And I think we could all agree that school doesn't just set you up for success all the time in life, right? If you think about it, just here's one thing. Are taxes a benefit or a penalty? Taxes are a penalty, right? What are they a penalty for? They're literally you get taxed more the higher you work your way up in specializing and more money you make in the profession that you're in. The more you get a professional degree, you're automatically getting taxed more than other people. Like, that's a penalty. That's not a benefit. Why is our system not incentivizing that educational system that we're brought up into? Anyway, that's for another time, I guess. Underscore said, can us do nose jobs, Botox, etc. stuff the beauty med spa would do? Yes, we can. I would get more training in like nose jobs, but like I don't want to do nose jobs. DVTT said, yes, an implant can be rejected. Yes, that's correct. Luke, what's up, Luke? Luke, dental student, said, huge congrats again, man. How's it feel? It feels good. I think it's going to hit more over the next 2 weeks, like after our graduation dinner happens, after I get my actual certificate, after I can get closer towards working. Yeah, right now it's early on. It's early on. I got a stomach. I'm not gonna lie. I got a little bit of a stomachache for lunch. I'm not sure why, but yeah, man. Amanda said, congratulations on finishing residency. Thanks, Amanda. Thank you. We're there. We're finishing right now. I just got to get the certificate and the graduation dinner on the 12th. So after that, we're done. And but right now, I don't have to like really work. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff outside. I got 6 podcasts set up for the next 2 days, 3 and 3, Monday and Tuesday. Put myself to work. Let's get after it. Let's have some fun. All right. User 2435. Who are you choosing for malpractice insurance? Yep. Condom, best thing for Team J. Clicking a GOAT. Can GP put dental implants in the U.S.? Because in my country, only surgeons can. Interesting. Hey, GOAT, what country is that? I'm actually really curious about this because, yeah, general dentists can put in implants in the United States. Deep VT said, where did you train? It's NYU and Bellevue hospitals. That's where I was at here. Con7 said, best thing for Team J. Jay Scott said, what's up, brother? I'm a Gen Sur resident at North Shore. Oh, you're at LJ. You're at Northwell. North Shore and LI. Good to see you, Don. Congrats. Jay Scott, thanks, man. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, you'll be there too. Just stay on the course. I'm hoping it's worth it. I'll let you know once I start working after a year or two to see if, the grind, the payoff is actually worth if the juice is worth the squeeze. That's something I've been questioning this entire time because reimbursement is only going down after the last 30 to 50 years in dentistry and generally in all of healthcare. So if the sink is shipping, you can only plug up so many holes, right? So that's a question that I have. I'm only going to know once I actually start working. So to be fair, but yeah, let's go. Pillsbury said, hey, doctor, can you clean my teeth? I don't clean teeth anymore, and I haven't for 4 years. So can I, though? Yes. You'd have to pay me a lot of money to do that. That's not my thing. In oral surgery, I don't clean teeth. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, faux. My man, congrats on completing residency. Thanks, dude. How long of? And I just finished on Friday, right? That was like my last full day of work. I finished my requirements 2 weeks ago, but last day of work was that, and then the official graduation date is the 12th of June after our dinner. Coming to a close. That's great. How long of a break do you have before starting practicing? So today's June 1st, and I start practicing in private practice in Melville at All County. I start in the middle of August. So technically I have 2 weeks of, I got to move out. I got to put in all my stuff. So that's like, I have a lot of stuff to do with these next 2 weeks. Maybe it might even trail into 3 weeks. Excuse me, unfortunately. But yeah, so like 2 months. I got 2 months. Amanda said, what state are you in? Sorry, I'm new here. What's up, Amanda? I'm in New York. Right now I'm in Manhattan. I just finished residency, so I'll be out on Long Island after this in Melville. Yasmin, what's up, Yasmin? Said, what school hospital did you graduate from? NYU Bellevue. That's where I graduated from. D Nice, followed the live creator. Thanks, D Nice. Mike, do you regret not getting your MD? No, I'm very happy. And I was right. I'm happy I didn't get my MD. I'm very happy about this. Why would I regret that? You got to look into what's the difference between the 4-year and 6-year oral surgeons. What do you get added on with those 2 years? You get your MD, you get all this knowledge. What are you going to do with that knowledge? It's going to make a great story to your kids, maybe your grandkids, but like other than that, it doesn't actually help you day in, day out in your office in private practice as an oral surgeon. Maybe it helps you with publishing and research. Maybe, not even. Maybe it helps with academia. But look, it's not necessary for what I want to do as an oral surgeon, what I'm going to be doing. It is not beneficial. So I'm very happy that I'm graduating 2 years earlier. Yeah, I am. Took a lot. I'm very happy about this. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Are you Marissa W119? Are you staying in the city or moving to Long Island? I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be moving out to Long Island. Wait, I just missed the. Oh my goodness, we got a lot of good questions. Thanks, guys. Here we go. Gap year. I did take a gap year. I took a gap year in between undergrad and dental school, though. Most transformative year of my life, I must say. I really recommend it. You really get a taste of what the real world is like, and you got to get out there, do as many jobs, do as many mentoring, shadowing, and oral surgeons, any dentists in your area. Goober, what's up, Goober? User 2435 recommendation for malpractice insurance. I mean, you got to look at the deals. You got to look at the representatives. Ask your mentors what malpractice they have and make your decision, right? He Haw said advice to a D3 starting clinic. Get yourself on a digital to-do list. This is what I tell everyone. My D3 year of dental school was very stressful, right? All of a sudden you're taking about the same amount of classes and they add on like 4 days of clinic, right? It's great, but you got to be able to handle that stuff. And I had like a side LLC developing in that time. The app To Do by Microsoft. It's a little white box with the blue check in the middle. That's what I use. That's how I handle all my things. That's how I add even more onto my plate since then. And that's how I really got through my D3 year, by handling everything from CBSE studying to clinic. It was a lot going on. That's how I did, and it worked. So that's what I recommend. Christina said, Will. Rome said, think this is AI. What's AI? Bergkamp said, best supplement for knee ligament repair and inflammation. I don't know, Bergkamp. I'm sorry about that. Spicy Firecracker 10. Where do you practice? Well, I just finished residency, and I will be practicing. I start in August on Long Island in a town called Melville, and the organization is All County Oral Surgery. All right. User 2435 said, can you say the malpractice insurer answer again, please? Video got cut out for me. Oh, yeah. So the malpractice insurance I'll be looking at for oral surgery will be either OMSNIC or MedPro or another one. Someone just commented on one of my Instagram posts earlier today that they help with malpractice insurance. So I got to look into those. It said, what would you say is the minimum score on CBSE to be competitive for ROS residency? So there's no minimum, right? Generally what they say is you want to get at least over that like 70 hump to have a competitive score. But, if you get a 65 to 70, still apply. Even 60, still apply, right? I don't know where you'll be at with interviews and such. You should be okay. But more competitive is in the 70 plus range on the CBSE, okay? It's very hard to get that. Don't underestimate it. AB Bands FX said, how risky is orthodontic surgery on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, it's different for everyone. There's a lot of risk involved with orthodontic surgery. You got to be able to, the patient needs to be able to follow directions in the weeks to come. We have to do a good job of it. You got to be careful with some structures. You have the inferior nerve that will be numb 90% of the time for several weeks after the surgery, and up to 10% of those cases never get feeling back on one of their sides of the V3 division of the inferior nerve. So most of them do, but there's up to 10%, and I might be over exaggerating that, but you have to be able to accept that risk with the surgery, right? That's one of many. Manav said, thoughts on dental anesthesiologist, job outlook, lifestyle, collabs with OMFS. Like, I don't know enough about that. I didn't get to work with any dental anesthesiologists in residency, and I don't know what their day-to-day practice is like. So I'm not the best person to answer that. Deep VT said, I have several dual degree surgeons in my territory, OMS plastics boarded. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Con7 said, is a night guard good for TMJ? It may be good for TMJ. The problem with night guards is some people, you put this appliance in their mouth, they're going to chew it even more. And chewing more is going to activate and put more pressure and strain on that TMJ. And then you're going to wake up and you're going to be even more in pain and pressure and stress and tense. Maybe a little cramp in your masseter. Some people it helps, some people it doesn't help. You need to follow with the TMJ specialist closely to determine that difference and figure out what's best for you, because everyone's going to need something different, right? Rat Girl Real said, now this looks like a guy whose lies I can overlook. What lie? Well, I try not to lie, man. Come on. Nicole DiLorenzo 7 said, Yermi. What's Yermi? You mean Hermie? Hermie, right? Hermie from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I've gotten called that. Rat Girl Real said, I'm going to let you build my world view. YTH, like a YT high school dropout looks to Rogan. All right, let's do it. Now, this 3066 YS Lace, I saw a video saying 2 5-year OMFS at case when unmatched. That is correct, actually. Does that mean not enough applied or no? Plenty of people applied to oral surgery residency this year. Let me clarify that, okay? But one thing that I would say is that the most programs are unfortunately all ranking the same top applicants across. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is it looks like people are looking more towards the 4-year degrees, the oral surgeons or oral surgery spots than the 6 years. And then case is only 5. That's a discount. That's 1 year discount, and you get your MD. So I don't know, man. Why? Why is that happening? It's happened the last 2 years. Last year there were 26 unmatched spots. 22 of those or so were 6-year spots. This year 22 were unmatched, and 21 of the 22 were 6-year spots. And those two from Case Western 5-year technically, right? So look, I don't have the answer, but this is something we really need to talk about, and I need some other oral surgeons to discuss and figure out how we're going to change this profession. Because we don't want year after year this happening, right? We need to build the profession in the right direction, and this is solid data that we need to use to our advantage to bring better to the betterment of it. Khan said the same thing. User 475 said, OS assistant here. You seem like you would be so much fun to work for. Thanks, man. Thanks, friend. I appreciate that. Come through. I'm at All County Oral Surgery. I'm trying to work. They currently have a setup where it'll be 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. I'd like to work 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, coming a little bit late on Mondays, like 11 to 7. I'd really like that as my Monday, and then maybe get out a little earlier on Friday. But so essentially it's a 9 to 5, 8 to 5, 5 days a week. I'd like to do that. And that would mean that the assistants there, they would be working a little bit more than 40 hours, which isn't allowed. So I don't know. I don't know if we need a part-time assistant to do that, but this is the kind of life I want. I'd really like us all to get out earlier on Fridays, right? Maybe hit a happy hour, end of the week. Let's just recap, unwind as a team briefly for an hour or two. Maybe get home, mow the lawn. I like to mow the lawn on Fridays in the summer. See my girlfriend, spend time with family. That would be great. And then Mondays, I would like to come in a little bit late, get my feet on the ground in the morning, maybe get a workout in, get some of the things going for the week, and then go into the office. Get in a little bit later, and then that'll allow patients to come in a little bit later after work if they can't get out on Monday, So that's some of the things I'm thinking about. Maybe if you're a future dentist, oral surgeon, you want to modify, and then this way I can maximize the weekends a little bit better too. You know what I mean? If I could come in a little bit later on Mondays, get out a little bit early on Fridays, while not working less during the week. So that's something I've been thinking about for a while. C. Benji said, "How's it going? Let's set up a chat. I'd love to be on the pod." Yeah, C. Benji, dude, we got to do it. Hit me up on Instagram. Can you do it tomorrow? Are you around tomorrow or Tuesday during the day? Let me know. When we get it in. Rat Girl Real said, "I'm drawn to your lack of modesty, like a moth to a flame. Lead me." No, lack of modesty. No. Come on. I think hopefully I'm down to earth. I want to be modest. I don't want to be pompous or an asshole. Deep VT said, "I've sold dental implants for 18 years. Wow, great accomplishment finishing residency. Thanks, friend. What implant company? I'm looking to work with Nobel. I'd really like to work with Nobel, but I'd need them to set me up a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm going to be talking a lot about implants, and I can work with anyone I want to, and I wouldn't mind. I'm just saying at this time, I'd preferentially work with them. Let's see if they want to work with me and how much that's important to them. Because I could get another implant company under my wing, and we could work with them, and I could custom make the implants over time. We'd make a really good product and stuff. So let's see how we do. Fat Lind Demi said, "Come to Republic of Kosovo for hands-on in zygomatic pterygoid implants in a full atrophic maxilla." I could do that. So sure, but I could do that right now. So Samantha Hall said, "What kind of doctor are you?" "I'm oral maxillofacial surgery." Some people say, "Oh, you're a dentist then." Yeah, I'm a dentist, and oral maxillofacial surgery is the bridge between medicine and dentistry. So, I'm not offended. You can call me whatever you want. Deal said, "I finished top of my class. Which specialty should I apply to? OS takes too long." Well, I don't really think top of your class should determine what specialty you applied for or go into. You really need to look at what you want to do. You need to get more exposure into, you got to get more exposure into all the specialties, right? So then you can make the right determination of what you want to do. Kyle, what do you think of a 19 DAT? I think it's okay. I think you should probably work on that. Jordan said, "So why are you wearing scrubs?" Well, if I came onto a live, and I've done this before, with just street clothes or a button down, I might look professional, but no one knows what I do when they come onto a live for 0.3 seconds, right? So, Jordan, that's why I'm wearing scrubs. Got it? Thanks. Samantha Hall, "How often should someone use mouthwash? Every night?" Well, I mean, I like to use mouthwash in the mornings. At night, I try to keep my toothpaste on my teeth, right? Like I spit out, I rinse out my mouth. But if you use Flora, mouthwash, you're just washing off all that toothpaste again. And it's the fluoride in toothpaste. It's the hydroxyapatite in toothpaste that helps with your teeth. I'm not saying swallow it. Don't do that because we know fluoride's not good for you as ingesting the material. Rinse your mouth out. Get it out of your mouth and it should be okay. Okay, but it is good for your teeth. Fluoride is good for your teeth. Rat Girl Real said, if the sink is shipping... Wait, I don't get it. Oh, did I say that? If the ship is sinking and I said sink is shipping? How about that? That's really funny. Gosh, wait, I feel like I missed something. Rat Girl Real, this guy left a gummy bear inside of my torso. What? You are cracking me up. Nicole DiLorenzo said, you skipped the Yermi. No, I didn't. What is Yermi? What does that mean? What does Yermi mean? Okay, we're caught up to that. Eric Newen said, how much longer are you staying out in Manhattan before officially moving back to Long Island? I'm going to be back and forth a little bit. I'll be on the Upper West Side for a little while. I didn't get the most out of the city, I feel like, over residency because I was working. That's simple. I was working. But I'll be back on Long Island pretty much fully, probably sometime in August. Right? I'll be back and forth between Long Island and Manhattan and traveling a little bit through July and August. But yeah, mid-August I'll be back there. Finally. Jay Scott said, yeah, brother, Northville here. There you go. I know a lot of Northville. Say hi to Dan Bastardi for me. Say hi to Joe Maselli. Say hi to a lot of my friends out there. Yeshin, she's going to be chief this year. Congrats to Yeshin at LIJ, one of the chief oral surgery residents coming up. I don't know who the other two chief residents are. Oh, no, it'll be, is it Dan Bastardi or does he have another one? No, it'll be Dan Bastardi, Yeshin, and one more 6-year. Goat said, I'm from Kosovo, basically Albania, if you don't know where Kosovo is. Albania. Yes. I got some good friends. One of my best friends is Albanian. Spicy Firecracker 10 said, we'll be practicing in New York or New Jersey. I'll be in New York, but I'll be on Long Island. Rat Girl Real. Yep. I saw that one. Kango69 said, congrats. Thanks, Kango69. User 475, if your job doesn't work out, come to private practice in Rochester, Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota. All right, let's hear the offer. What could I be looking at in Minnesota? What's the hours? What's the hours? How many days a week? Are you taking call? Are you working in a hospital? Do I have to work weekends? And what kind of percentage are you offering? Let me know. I'm interested in hearing that. Mohammed said, what's the salary looking like for someone coming like you freshly graduating? Curious since I might begin, but what might you begin? In oral surgery, I've seen anywhere as low as, this is 3 years ago, as low as $275 in the middle of Manhattan. That's the lowest I've seen. Normally now I'm seeing like $350 as a minimum, up to $425, $450 in the New York area, Northeast area. Otherwise, in other parts, I saw $650 in Alabama. I saw $500 in Maryland. I saw almost $800 in Wisconsin. I saw $750 in Florida. And guys, these are the highest. These are the highest ones that I've seen in those areas. California is roughly the same as New York, probably like $350 to $450. That's what I've seen right now. Okay. Samantha Hall also was wondering how many people have internal retainers. There's actually more than I thought that have internal retainers behind the front lower teeth, the mandibular incisors. More people than I expected. You just have to be careful. You have to brush. You have to floss. You have to use those things to get underneath the retainer behind those front teeth because the recession can really build up. You have calculus. Oftentimes you see on those patients with the permanent retainers on the mandibular incisors on the lingual side, a lot of calculus can build up right under there. All right. Deep VT TV, congrats on completing residency. Thanks, man. I cover several residencies with dental implants. Which residencies do you cover? Wow, it keeps bringing me back to new comments, and I keep missing all that. How often should someone? Oh yeah. The night guard. Let's see, Muhammad. What's the salary look like? I went there too. DVT. Yeah. So what residencies are you selling and working with implants to? I'm curious about that. Sina Ka said, I have black trimming under my crown. Is that bad? I'm not sure what that means. I haven't done crown for a long time. Mags followed the live creator. Thanks, Mags. Dis3066 Lai said, I saw a video. Oh yeah, guys. I know the 5-year Case Western is correct. Mag said, I use chlorhexidine for my cavities so I don't have to go to a dentist. I don't know. Mags, you should definitely go to a dentist to get that evaluated, okay? You need a full comprehensive exam and make sure you get those cavities addressed. If they told you just use chlorhexidine, okay, that's something else. But I would like you to see a dental healthcare provider to go over that. And B, can you go more into detail about the gap year? I'm going to take one, and I don't know what to do during it. Oh, well, let me tell you. I worked a couple jobs. I worked as a surgical assistant for an oral surgeon in my area, okay, part-time. I also worked 2 different lifeguard jobs. So I worked lifeguarding at a gym at night so I could do work there. I could get a free gym membership and get paid on top of that. I did that like 3 days a week. On weekends, I lifeguarded at an assisted living home. So I did that as well during that. So I worked 3 different jobs, and it was great. Lifeguarding is great because you could work, you could study, you could do stuff while you're at that job. Let's see, what else did I do? I did music producing. I read a lot of books on stocks. I listened to a lot of podcasts like Gary Vaynerchuk. That's where I got into Gary Vaynerchuk. That was 2016, I started listening to him a lot. Music producing, stocks I did. So that's what I did in my gap year. I did a lot of traveling, seeing my friends, spending time with family. DT said, most of the OMFS I call on have dropped insurances, all cash, baby. Yeah, but you got to build a reputation to do that. In order to be fee for service and drop all insurances, you have to have the reputation where someone's going to want your quality treatment and service for you rather than someone else who can essentially do the same job, take out teeth, right? But with the help of insurance coverage financially. So that's my thing. I got to build a reputation, and it's not going to be a walk in the park. I know that, but we need to afford the quality of life that we went into this for, right? We want to help people, but we also, I've been slaving away in the hospital for all these years. I need I want to start a family. I got to buy a house. I got to get a car to drive to and from work. So, I can't pay for this with love. The night guard. Yep. Wolfpack Dentist said, pro tip, use N-code healing abutments and your referring docs will love you. N-code healing abutments. Why is that? Why would the referring docs love us for that? Kristen Watkins 3 said, how hard do you think it would be to match into endo residency? Well, the endo residencies that I know about, you need to do a 1-year GPR before there. So, how hard it is, I'm sure it's competitive, but get that GPR in year and you'll be all right. Bassetti said, salary in the new job you're getting into? I signed with a contract. Remember, for me, I'm bigger on percentage. I find that percentage of what you collect for the practice is more important than salary. Reason being is I signed for 40%. 40% is very high, especially at DSOs these days. You'll see like 30, 32%. Very few DSOs are giving 40%. It's Aspen, it's the practice I'm at, and the Leading Edge. Those 3 places give you 40%. Otherwise, other places are giving you 30%, 32%. Not great. I was not going to work at a place that's only giving me 30, 32, 35%. Not into that. 4%, that's going to be making, compared to a 30% making 40%, that's like an extra Tesla a year. So that's like, I think 30% is pathetic, to be completely honest, right? You're giving away money to that DSO, to the investors. You're just giving away your 10 to 20% of your salary. Yeah, so I'm bigger on percentage than salary, okay? No, Tame Impala said, are you going to buy a house on Long Island? Yeah, I'm going to buy my dad's house, the house I grew up in, actually, since I was 3 years old. And I want to buy that. I know the neighborhood. I know the neck of the woods. I know the house, and I like it. I'm not looking for anything extravagant. I want to build something over time with my significant other in order to make it what I think we can make it be, a home. And so that's my thoughts. And keep it in the family from there. Easton Watkins followed the live creator. Thanks, Easton. IHTINB. Congrats on finishing residency. Thank you. In undergrad, did shadowing affect your choice of specialization? It did. It heavily affected my choices and interests of specializing. It also made me fully switch from thinking med school or PA school to dentistry. So it was the shadowing and observing my mentors that got me into that. Yeah. Salary in the new job, we just went over that. Look for percentage, not the salary. That's very important. A2, the world A. How come most maxillofacial surgeons go straight to do implants instead of interesting jaw surgeries, et cetera? The hospital settings have a pretty big control on the reimbursement and the marketing for those cases that need to be done in the hospital setting. And then insurance, they haven't increased insurance reimbursement in like 50 years. So what the heck is going on, man? Everything costs more nowadays, but you're getting reimbursed for the work that you do less and less every year. I can't do that. Come on, man. Someone's got to stick up for this system because this healthcare system is failing. The administration is going up and up. There's so many more administrators year after year in these hospitals and these insurance companies, and they're making more and more money year after year. There's been a fraction of the percentage increase in actual healthcare providers over the last 50 years, since the 70s. Yeah, that's over 50 years. So this is a big problem. We need to stand up for the healthcare and for patients and provide. For healthcare in general, the betterment of healthcare in general, we need to stick up for patients and providers. And this is how we're going to do it. You're a patient, you've gotten so many denials you don't even know it from your insurance company. I'm telling you right now, you're a provider, you can't even do so many treatments that you're trained to do because they're not going to reimbursement. Say you go into the hospital and you do a jaw surgery, right? You still have to pay your office staff, even if they didn't come in to work for that day. You still have to pay them. So you need to make enough money for that. But if you go into work, keep your lights on, your implant, your materials, your office space, your staff, you're losing money because that hospital isn't going to pay you enough. The insurance company isn't going to pay you enough. And you have to file all that insurance reimbursement on your own most of the time. The hospital isn't paying for you. The hospitals I know of, they tell you could bill that under your own license. That takes time. You're going to get denied. You're going to get 3 denials before you can finally get on the phone and explain why it was a necessity. Why are we complaining about a necessity? The patient's got a broken jaw. This is what's going on in healthcare, and the insurance companies are ruining it. The second, these hospital conglomerates are getting way too. You can get big. I believe in capitalism, but the monopoly, the tactics that are being created and reinforced are really preventing the next guy from coming up. And that's really bad, okay? The monopolistic tactics that are being done. Monopolies can happen, right? In Monopoly, the game, right? You get your like wall on the side of the board. Monopolies happen, right? But the tactics and laws and regulations that are forming through these monopoly conglomerates, then they're teaming up with politics. It's not good. It's not good. Look into what's going on. Damon said, proud of you, bro. Congrats. Thanks, Damon. Sapphire said, just had a BSSO. It's been 6 weeks. Can I go into a sauna and can I start to run again? Now, look, I didn't do your BSSO, so I don't know the exact situation. Generally, for BSSOs and orthodontics, you can start to exercise again. I would wait till after a month. Okay. The sauna, probably. But this isn't coming from me. I don't know your situation. You need to ask that to your provider, okay, who did the surgery. Deep VT said, I have several offices looking for another OMFS. You are in high demand. We are, and I'm happy to hear that. But what are those offices offering? What do they want you to do? They're going to pop you in at the low end of the totem pole? There's a reason why they need people to fill. Is it a new DSO organization, and they're trying to fill those offices? There's a lot going on behind the scenes that you have to look into for these opportunities. Tabitha MH17, after tooth extraction, how long do I need to wait to get another cavity filling done? Not very long. Week or two. It's going to be up to your comfort after about a week or so. Okay. Deep VT said, and this is not medical advice, just my sole opinion. Deep VT, this whole live, not medical advice, just my sole opinion, my own personal opinion. Okay. Let's just clear that up now while we're here. Deep VT, is the office you are going to owned by a DSO or private practice? I don't have the heart. My stomach turns thinking of working at a DSO where my whole future doesn't have any equity, or I will never be an owner, and the autonomy decreases over time, and the DSO is backed by an insurance company, maybe private equity that's just trying to sap profits from the organization, sell it to another entity, and move on. That's what's going on right now. Not great. I came into healthcare for patient-centered care and to really enjoy doing surgery, which I do, but I need some autonomy in order to do that. And you know what? I don't like seeing doctors getting screwed left and right, because that's affecting patient care in the long run too. And I had enough of seeing that. Okay. Just my thoughts. Hangry Hedgehog said private. Which program did you attend? I went to NYU, which also involves Bellevue as well. That's the oral surgery residency I'm graduating from right now. Lily M46, did you work with CRNA in practice? Interested in that relationship? In practice, I'd like to see about that. We work with so many CRNAs at the hospitals, at all the hospitals in the middle of Manhattan, which is interesting. Bassetti's, it's salary in the new job. Remember, guys, it's about the percentage you get from collections. It's not about the salary. Don't fall for a big salary number, okay? That's how I see a lot of people getting caught up with these DSOs, bragging about what salary they're going to get. Think about the percentage that you're going to get, because that's the most important thing. That's actually where the money comes from. A2 The World said, are you still going to do consistent podcasts since you finished residency? I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to. I want to help people. This is mentoring. This is education. This is building. Yeah, we gotta grow. DVT said, Zimmer. Gotcha. You're at Zimmer. So you know Colin. Colin's in Manhattan. You know Nick. We just did a plate for an orthodontic case. Plates and guides with him 2 weeks ago. We also did a mandible fracture with him. He just ran a marathon today. Congrats to Nick. Shout out to Nick of Zimmer Biomed at the hospitals here. User 84416. I used to take my grind guard out and throw it across my room in my sleep. Wow, really? That's aggressive, right? Don't you think? The Nano Fur followed the live creator. Thanks, man. Ju Havin said, how was your DAT experience? How long did it take you to study? It took me I graduated at the end of May 2016, and then I took it July 1st, 2016. So about a month and a half I had to study for that. Yeah, about a month and a half. The experience, I mean, I don't know. I'm really sick and tired of studying, man. I like learning and reading on my own, but like sitting down to study, I mean, I'll do it. Quizlet, I don't mind it that, but like we got to move on. We can't just be sitting around studying for our entire lives. Like we got to do work. We got to like time for family, time to buy a house. Like I'm sick of like staying in this educational structure, the system that was created forever and ever and ever, and the fellowship and the extra training. Guys, we got to live our lives for once. Do you live to work or do you work to live? Like, what are you trying to get out of life? You want to you want to look back on your life one day and just think of how much studying, how many hours you put into studying, or, you're probably going to be thinking about like your grandkids and that trip to Japan and right? Yes or no? You got to think, we got to put these things in perspective, right? Oh, Doc, I've just finished the CBSE, but feel like I'm forgetting so much. Is it worth keeping up with the studying? Well, congrats, you finished with the CBSE. What about seeing friends and family? What about, I don't know, what do you think? Go ahead, study for it again if you want to. I don't think it's worth it personally, just my personal opinion. The Nando first said, what is the most impactful case you had to deal with in the hospital as a maxillofacial surgeon? As a maxillofacial surgeon was the most impactful case. Wow, there were so many. I mean, OMFS implants or the IPS case, people come in, they got no teeth in their mouth and they're leaving with a full denture in. That's pretty huge. As people coming in the orthognathic surgery, they got one jaw up front and to the one side and the top jaw in the back and to the other side. They can't chew, they can't talk, they can't phonate. It's affecting their confidence. And all of a sudden we do this surgery and they're leaving the hospital with their teeth coming together, their facial aesthetic. Now they're very swollen, but months later, it completely changes the way some of these people look. It's outstanding, pretty amazing. I really like orthognathic surgery. I wish that the opportunity to do orthognathic surgery, most likely in hospital settings, was better. I don't enjoy working in hospital settings. I don't enjoy it. I don't like taking call. It took us 2 or 3 trays to finally get all the instruments, the sterilization trays, just on our orthognathic on Friday. 2 or 3 trays just to get all the right instruments. That's wasting time. The patient's asleep. We're trying to get going on the surgery, and we have to stop surgery to look for the side of the nasal osteotome. God, don't even get me started, man. The risk to the patient, the lack of reimbursement for the time that we put in, the training, the experience, the surgery itself. I find it to be very disrespectful to patient care because we can do the surgery, and I feel like we don't get enough support. I really don't. Who's going to say it? Who's going to finally step up for providers? I don't know. And patients need this stuff. I have nothing against doing orthognathic surgery, but I can't do it if I can't afford to pay for staff for the day that I need to take off to go into the hospital. When are we going to build this profession better as a whole? How are we going to max it? This is the United States. We got to get back to patient-centered care. That's it. Bottom line, we need to get back to patient-centered care. That involves support for providers, and that involves getting rid of these. Let's attack all this regulatory laws put in place, these monopolistic structures that are forming. We gotta change the pathway here. M. Berry said, what's your specialty? Pediatric dentist here. What's up, M. Berry? Oral maxillofacial surgery. M.E. said, how long does an extraction typically take you? Depends on the tooth. It really depends on the tooth. I'm at about 25 minutes for a sedation and for completely impacted, full bony impacted wisdom teeth. E said, is this typical? A surgeon I shadow took 5 to 10 minutes. It really depends on the tooth. Dude, I could get some teeth out in 5 seconds. Some teeth take a lot longer, so if you divide up probably upper impacted wisdom teeth and lower fully bonies. I mean, if it's 25 with the sedation, what is that, 5 to 7 minutes a tooth? With the induction of the sedation being maybe 5 minutes or no, probably less than 5 minutes. It really depends. It's hard to measure that, but you can put it in total. I try not to get into the bragging game of how fast you could do cases, right? Because I mean, it can help patients out. The less time under sedation and stuff is better. It's generally better, less opportunity for complications. But Luke, dental student, said, did you do much outside of classes to prepare for residency in the first 2 years of dental school? No, not much. Luke, I'm planning to hit the didactic years hard since my school has letter grades, GPA, and class rank. Yes, you're going to have to do that, Luke. All right. The biggest thing is, the personalities that surround you and the competitiveness. I find you to be quite immature in dental school. Just my opinion. Just keep an eye out, okay? There's a lot of backstabbers, and you'll notice. I hope your class doesn't. Every class is different. Some classes have more, some classes have less. Some classes don't have any, but just be careful because a lot of schools in dental school and medical school, they're so selfishly competitive. And my recommendation for you is just focus on your course. Full steam ahead. Focus on your next move you need to make to get the next test score, to work on yourself, hit that workout, work on that diet, stay true to your routine, know when to do laundry, when to do groceries, stay true to that, your sleep habits, and don't get caught up with all that noise that your colleagues are going to have. Okay, stick true to you. Don't compromise your personality because they're being immaturely competitive. You're going to see this. Okay, so just be yourself. Keep making content. That's going to get hard at times. You're going to get shunned. I'm letting you know right now. I've seen it so much for myself and other people too. Okay, but you're going to be just fine, Luke. All right. Do that. Hit the didactic gears hard. Deep VT said groups. Oh, no, just lost that spot. All right, let me find that, and then here we go. And I'm gonna try and pick up before we gotta go. VT said groups have been offering 400K plus in my territory to start. What territory are you in? Because 400 is about an average in the United States now. User 475 Monday through Thursday. 8 to 4:30. Okay, good. 7:30 to 3:30. Oh, so you bump it up an hour. Nice. I like that a lot. Work with another energetic male surgeon. You can pick a day off too. A day off? Whoa. Pick a day off? I like that a lot. I would pick Monday. If I could do it, I would pick Monday off and work Tuesday through Friday. I love the Friday vibes. Why do you come in early on Friday? Because I feel like Wednesdays and Thursdays would be a really good time to get in touch with your referring dentists. You know what I mean? I plan on doing a lot of podcasts. I want to go to dinner maybe once every other week with dentists in the area. I want to get to meet the people. I want to work with them. I want to let people know I'm there and I'm here to work with them. I want to collaborate. Let me show you my DTX files on our planned implant cases, all in X's. But a day off, wow. That would be huge. If I could get Monday off, I could do it Monday. You know what I mean? VT said West Virginia and Pitt Dental School. Oh, gotcha. You're in that area. You're in West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, West Virginia. Okay, got it. Haley said, user 4750. I don't know all the details, but we are a very busy office. Lots of thirds and implants. I like that a lot too. But it's Minnesota. I don't know, man. If you said which state's better for business though, because I have side projects in businesses and like the dental insurance I want to work on. Montana or Minnesota or like Wisconsin in that area. I feel like Montana. I don't know. Tar, which program did you attend? NYU and Bellevue OMFS. User 475, we are a part of US OSM management. Ooh, they're great. I know them. I know a lot of them. Oh man. So you're a part of sure, it's US OSM management, but technically, I mean, that falls in the realm of DSO. It does. What percentage do they get? I know they're not giving 40%. I already know. You don't have to. Isn't it like 32.5% US OSM? Or 30? It might even be 30. Guys, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of DSOs and management companies coming in and said only take home this much. Guys, then they're telling you just focus on doing what you love. Guys, I really think surgeons and dentists can do a lot more than what they're being told they can do these days. I really think they do. You need to get the education. You need to learn how to do these things. You're not getting into dental school as far as the management, the business, the finances, the marketing, the advertising, the referring. You're not going to learn that in dental school. You got to get through dental school and you got to learn as much of those things as you possibly can. And you need to recognize you're born to do a lot more than just dentistry. I believe it. And it's up to you whether to believe in yourself or not, but I believe in you. All right? I really do. Richard does FBA. Do you invest? I got a Bitcoin. Yeah, I invest a little bit here and there where I can. I'm a big fan of Bitcoin. I was lucky. When I got in so late, I got in at 33. I got in so late. I wanted to get in when it hit 15, 16. That was the end of 2023, right? October. I got in a month after that. It was at 33. Still better now where it is, S. Bren Huff said, what are your thoughts on states fast-tracking hygienists using an office training for assistance? I'm interested in learning more about that. How does that affect you? The Nando Fur, what is the most impactful case you had to, we went over that. Ben Cho said, are you finished with residency and working on private practice yet? Yes, I finished this month, Ben, and I start private practice in August. Yeah, I'll be on Long Island at All County in the Melville office. DVT, private practice OMS are paying 400K plus first year in my territory. Yeah, that's pretty good. I have seen that, but you're in Pitt. I mean, that's what I'm getting on Long Island, in West Virginia, they should be paying a lot more than that. Do you think that dental school prestige matters in applying to competitive residencies? Unfortunately, personally, I don't think that should matter. I really don't. I think you should get to know who the applicant is a little bit more, in addition to learning their scores and what school. But unfortunately, residencies do rely on the prestige, quote unquote, of that residency significantly. All right, couple more. Let's go. Kat said insurance reimbursement is abysmal. Patients take it out on staff, but it's so much bigger than that. I agree. IHTINB. What you doing? Going to a cheaper dental school with clinical or more expensive but better clinical? I would look. Better clinical is always better. Always better. Guys, you got to go to a dental school that gets good clinical. You're going to become a dentist first, right? And generally, higher prestige dental schools place more into specialties too. So that may be advantageous. But look, like if you're going to take out $500,000 loans, I don't know if that's the answer. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you my personal opinion and as much information to make that informed decision yourself. But I don't know the answer to this at this time. This is a very big question. Ranking like quality of life, debt, when to start working, specializing, which dental school to go to, where to start working, private practice versus DSO. All these things tie in because there's little nitty gritty, intricacies to each of them. Private practice, 8 to 4, no hospital every day. Yeah, I can't stand working in the hospital anymore. 8 to 4, I work 7 to 4. Rachel said you work 7 to 4. What is this? Complete the puzzle piece. Otherwise the live will... We have detected inactivity during your current live. What? We have detected inactivity during your live? What's your problem, TikTok? We're talking here. We're working here. Get off my... Anyway, Paige Minna said, could you go back in time to use OMFS again? Well, I don't know yet. Paige, that's a great question. Give me a year or two working in private practice, and then I will let you know if it's worth it or not. Just from my opinion, my perspective, okay? Because right now, I just finished residencies, right? I just finished residency. I don't know yet. I'm not a full-on oral surgeon practicing, getting reimbursed, so... Juhavin was your process study for the DAT. How long did you study? Studied about a month and a half. Process was all the sections. PAT, boot camp. I think boot camp's great. You have Booster, you have Crack the Dat, you have Chad's videos. Those are all excellent. Ben said, it has always been a huge issue getting dentists to work in rural areas. What's the solution? Ben I'm going to tell you right now, this is the solution. And this is something that I've been working on for a long time in my idea for a new dental insurance company. If you make insurance reimbursement of treatments and the patient providers of certain areas, because certain areas make more money, the quality of living is much more expensive, and others is lower. Make it self-sustainable. You need to get government handouts out of the system. You need to make it self-sustainable per area, like zip codes perhaps, right? And some zip codes are going to be have more incomes than others, right? That's fine. Maybe we allow in the algorithm, which I created, allow for more dentists in those higher income areas, right? Certain patients may want to get treatment in those higher income areas, those zip codes of those dentists there, that's fine. Then at each appointment, they have to pay a different premium, a different thing to the insurance company by going out of network. This is how we get dentists in the other network. If there's going to be less dentists in the less income areas, there will be a point at which once there's more dentists in the higher income areas, putting too many into the pot will cause the pot to overflow. And then those dentists, because it's so saturated in certain areas, will end up making less per treatment, per procedure, per that geographic area than in the less populated areas, the less competitive areas, quote unquote, for dental providers, right? And therefore, people are going to want to work in those areas. That self-sustaining model of an insurance company, I believe, will solve this. Does that make sense? Ben, tell me what you think about this, because this is a work in progress. This is a little theory, a little thought that I'm trying to develop to make dentistry better overall. And if we can prove that this insurance company solves that and has more acceptances and providers are willing to work more, we have better provider retention in the industry, providers are willing to work with us more, then we could do it for medicine too. This could be a really huge thing for the betterment of all of healthcare in the United States. It's a theory beginning, and I need your help, okay? We can do this together. Imagine an insurance company called, hey, I wanted to know why you denied this. You get another dentist on the phone that says, hey, I'm one of the representatives for this dental insurance company, your dental insurance company. Let's work on this together, because this is the testament of what gets denied in insurance. If you can give us a better reason on why this needs to be accepted, then we implement it into the model for next year. And now we could grow as a team, because this is your insurance company. This is everyone's insurance, right? This is how we make dentistry better as a whole. Let me know what you think, Ben Shaw. DVT, all the largest practices have sold to DSOs in my area over the last couple of years. Yeah, they sold out. They made a lot of money, and everyone that works in that organization will never make that kind of money again. And they're also getting a smaller percentage, so the work that they do is already less than the dentists that were working there for all those years that had sold out. So the sellouts already don't make the same amount that they made when they were private practice. They also were bought. So they were bought. They got a lot of money for that. Every dentist and oral surgeon that works in that practice, going and so forth, they're getting less of a percentage than the people that when it was a private practice, and they will never have that equity, that the reimbursement for the buyout. So that's a significant chunk of change that they're missing out on. When dentists are coming out of dental school and residency with the highest debt in the history of dentistry, and now they are receiving the least amount of reimbursement for care. And yes, that is a fact, because the reimbursement hasn't gone up over the years. It's only gone down. I'm sure you could say that DSOs with the bigger conglomerates, and they have a lot more patients under the wing, that they are allowed to leverage that and get higher reimbursements from the insurance companies. But that's manipulative to the dental industry, isn't it? So that's not right either. That's unethical. So yeah, food for thought. What direction are we going in? Ju Havin said, I'm starting my studies today. I'm going to take the DAT in August. Get it. You better get after it, man, because now we're in June. You have plenty of time, but you're going to have to pump each day. You're going to get that work in. Paige Mena said, if you could go back in time, would you choose? I don't know yet. I don't know. IHTINB, what made you apply to NYU OMFS other than 4-year? And since you're from New York, any other programs you liked? Oh, yeah. Any other programs? I loved VCU and Christianacare. Those were my number 2 and 3 rankings. Christianacare I ended up ranking 2. Mixed in with, I loved VCU. I extra in there. Maybe that would have been 2 in hindsight. I don't know. Christianacare. MedStar is excellent. Rutgers is good. Montefiore is excellent. Those are some of the top on the East Coast for dental alveolar work if you're going into a 4-year. Okay. Montefiore I ended up ranking back to like 6th because if you look through their history, every other year on average, they let a resident go over the last 20 years. Or at least that's what it was when I was applying in 2020. I wasn't really a fan of that. I got a flame under my own ass. I don't need someone else putting a fire under my ass to work harder. I can do that on my own. You know what I mean? I don't need to be threatened or be worried about getting, kicked out of the residency. So I wasn't really a fan of that. Just food for thought, you know what I mean? But yeah, MedStar, excellent. Christianacare and VCU, I loved. VCU was outstanding. I really enjoyed my externship there. I enjoyed all the residents there. Their faculty members are there for you. Very hardworking, very talented people. They're Abu Bakr. They had Lynn Dinlam. There was there. They have this implant specialist guy there where they're doing all annexes with their chief residents under sedation. Just absolutely incredible experience you will get it at VCU. So that's a shout out to VCU. Excellent. NYU, a number of reasons. We got lucky. We have an implant specialist here at the VA doing all annexes, zygomatics, IPSs. There's a lot of good stuff going. I did 21, 22 full arches throughout my residency here, which I'm very fortunate with. And I got a dental alveolar experience like no other. Would you recommend moonlighting to OMS residents? I mean, do it if you can, right? It's some money on the side. Be careful. Do what's right for the patient always. And you can only do that at certain residencies. So see if your residency allows it, right? Mine didn't. Yeah. All right, guys, a couple more. Baloney Alone said, you're too professional with the lingo, bro. Calm down a little bit. LOL. Yeah, good. Yeah, you got it. Oh, maybe you're being sarcastic. It is what it is, man. This is who I am. I'm not gonna flower things up for you, and I'm not gonna. But I try to be very professional. I try to split the median there. Paige Mena, if you could go back in time, would you choose? Give me a couple years, then I'll be able to answer that more adequately. Walter, congrats on completing residency, man. Thank you. Submitting my ADSAS on Tuesday. Good luck. Get it, Walter. On Tuesday. That's pretty early. Good for you, man. Related to Fiona? I'm not related to Fiona. John, good luck. Oh, I just lost it. Thank you. Logan, is there pass from MD to OMFS? No, not that I know of. Not that I know of in the United States right now. Goober said, what's your Mount Rushmore of macro beers? What am I don't know. My favorite summer beer is Kona Big Wave, by the way. S-word, funny, LOL, West Virginia's poor. Believe it or not, in states where maybe the average income is lesser, in many cases, oral surgeons and dentists make more. Figure that one out, huh? User 2435, I know people who love MedPro and recommend them over Omsnick. Thoughts? That's great. This is what I got to look into. I actually have dinner with MedPro on the 9th. And I'm going to be talking to Dr. Leffler. Shout out to Dr. Mark Leffler, oral surgeon, who's going to be talking with us about the MedPro policies. It's those two that I'm going to compare, Omsnick and MedPro. Yasmin said, where did you do your residency in dental school? Dental school, I went to Stony Brook. Residency was NYU, OMFS, NYU in Bellevue, OMFS. Deyvvi, follow the live creator. Thanks, Deyvvi T. Thank you. A Patel 7702. Is there a surgeon type, or do you learn how to be a surgeon? Speaking about personalities and habit, maybe both. Maybe that's a good question. I don't know. Brown Sugar said, why dentistry and not MD as a surgery through other profession? They weren't that happy. With it. And the dentists that I shadowed, my mentors, they were happy. Now, lots changed since then. They all sold out their practices to DSOs. They were happy when it was private practice. They were generally happier. I would see them at the gym 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and I shadowed them. They had a lot of autonomy. They did a lot. The DSO changed things. It's changing the landscape. I don't know. But all right, guys, we're at about an hour. Let me get a couple questions in, and then I got to go. All right. Kareem El Sherbini, can someone never get a match? Unfortunately, that can happen. Yasser followed the live creator. Thanks, Yasser. Pebble said, make RDH able to do their own mobile practices, treat underserved. I don't think that will solve it. I mean, look at what happened with CRNAs. They created CRNAs so that served areas, underpopulated areas could get anesthesia, right? But now you have the biggest hospitals in the United States. In Manhattan, I've seen it myself. They're hiring CRNAs to do all these extra cases rather than just hiring out. And if you're a private hospital in the center of Manhattan, why do you need to hire CRNAs when you could afford an anesthesiologist? What's going on here that we don't know about? I think there's a lot of lobbying stuff to allow for kind of quote unquote cheaper labor. And I'm not talking down about CRNAs. The CRNAs I've worked with have been excellent. But the fact of the matter is, what was CRNA created for? And what is the actuality of what's going on in healthcare in today's day and age? Do we want to follow that path in dentistry? Is it working? Has it actually solved all those problems? It hasn't. So why are we going to copy their failing ideology, right? So yeah, I don't think that'll actually work. I think it has such great intention, but I think if you look over in the history of similar concepts, it doesn't actually work out that way. So I would consider that before we just go and like, oh, let's give more people more things. It doesn't work that way. Okay. Ben Cho said, first time I've heard of that solution. I like it. Always easier said than done. But Ben, exactly. It's easier said than done. But if we work together as a team and we use AI to create that algorithm and hone it in onto the zip codes, for example, or some bigger or smaller geographic area, we could create that solution. And guess what? It's not going to work overnight. It's going to take years to refine this and make it better and better and better. But I think with that mentality, and the administration takes on a bunch of dentists that are already practicing but do not take a salary, how can we fail with this endeavor? You see what I mean? It's going to be a team effort. And I think if you get the right like-minded individuals that are about the betterment of healthcare and dentistry, how can it fail? That's my proof. So I know it will work. It's always easier said than done. But if we could come together as a team, it will happen. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. I got to work on my stomach ache that I've had since lunch. And I got to get ready for tomorrow. It's almost 9 o'clock. Got to get ready for bed and such. So guys, TikTok Live number 65. Thank you so much for coming on. This is my first TikTok Live since I graduating. I did the walk 2 weeks ago. In 2 weeks, we have the official graduation dinner, but I finished my last cases on Friday. So it's a nice, happy moment. So thank you for joining me on this live. TikTok Live number 65 again. And the top 5 listeners who stayed on for the longest time of this podcast, I give you guys a shout out. So thank you. The top 5, you'll be seeing this in the caption of TikTok Live number 65 on YouTube, podcast, Apple Music, Spotify. So thanks again. All right, friends, I'm going to sign off. I love you guys. Today's June 1st, 2025, and I'll be putting out content, and I'll see you next weekend. All right? Thanks, guys. I love you guys, my podcast family.